Good evening and welcome to this Thursday edition of the Angela Ray Show. I hope that you all have had a fabulous day. One more day, and it is the weekend, baby. I don't know what that means for you because I am still social distancing. So the weekend is not much different from the weekday, except I don't have the Angela Ray Show. So for those of you who are catching our broadcast on the replay, thank you so much for tuning in, for sharing and being a loyal follower. For those of you who are my live viewers, you know what to do whenever you get on the broadcast. Go ahead and do me a favor and share that, especially if you are watching on Facebook. Go ahead and slide into the comments. Let me know where you are watching from tonight. This is day 4 of my 5-part series entitled Boss Moves, where I'm highlighting small business owners and entrepreneurs who are doing great things and actually launched their businesses long before COVID 19 sent us into a pandemic around the world. On Monday night, we had Rita Pardo of Pardo Naturals. On Tuesday, we had Dr. Anika Goodwin of Opulence MD Beauty. And on last night, it was Donna King of P. Sherrod and Company. And yes, we have another girl boss on tonight. Fellas, I did not leave you out. We are going to have a guy entrepreneur on tomorrow night, but tonight, again, it's another girl boss. So we're going to get started as we always do with our Ray of Motivation moment, but we want to give you all a moment or two to get on the broadcast. Again, let me know where you are watching from tonight. Hey, Carlin, from late. Why did I not realize you lived in that part of Maryland? I'm thinking that is like right outside of DC. Edwin, you're driving down Ramsey. Okay. I have not been on Ramsey Street in quite some time. Thank you for tuning in, even while you are moving and shaking on this Thursday evening. So, we're going to go ahead and get started with our Ray of Motivation moment for tonight. And our Ray of Motivation moment I have borrowed from Dr. Caroline Leaf. Had an opportunity to see her speak in the Atlanta area, actually virtually. I did not attend in person back in early March. And her presentation was very timely considering we were literally on the cusp of the world shutting down right before the pandemic really hit strong. And one of the things that she shared was something that I wrote down in my journal, in my notes as I was watching her speak, was to stop competing and to start enhancing. Stop competing and start enhancing. And I have to give a shout out to some of my fellow online talk show hosts because as I was getting ready to get started with my own show and wasn't sure how I was going to launch it, what was the best platform to use, I had my sister girls who were more than willing to help me out. So shout out to Camille Cower and Cassandra Jolliffe. They both gave me insight on how they were launching their programs, which programs work best, the pros and the cons of each, knowing that I was wanting to do pretty much the exact same thing that they were doing. But me being a fellow host just along with them has not impacted what they are doing at all. It's actually enhanced. So it doesn't matter what someone may be wanting to do. I encourage you to don't look at someone as your competition, but to look at someone as an individual that you can help along the way. Because I promise you, before you make it to the top of the ladder, someone may have to reach back and give you a hand along the way. And that is your Ray of Motivation moment for this Thursday edition of the Angela Ray Show. Oh, thank you, Leticia, who is watching. You might not want everybody to know where you're watching. You didn't say where you're watching from, so I won't spill the beans. All right. Well, I am really excited to welcome this girl boss onto the Angela Ray Show tonight. She launched her business, Expressions Bracelet, in the early part of this decade, and it began as a small effort to put some beaded bracelets together for an autism walk. She went from there to putting the business on Etsy.com, and it has exploded since that time. She's been featured in numerous publications, and I'm really excited to have her here on the Angela Ray Show tonight. And in addition to her bracelet business, she also has a speaking business as well, SaRatta Speaks. So please help me welcome SaRatta Murphy. SaRatta, thank you so much for being on the show tonight.
Well, thank you for having me. It's good to see you and hear you again.
Yeah, it's good to see you as well. You know, I have often wondered this, and I don't know if I've ever asked you this before, but before you decided to put the bracelets together, long before you were thinking about Expressions bracelet, had you designed bracelets or jewelry before?
No, I never had.
Wow.
And the funny thing is, I wasn't a big person of wearing jewelry at all, except earrings and very minimalistic jewelry. I wasn't the person that was all decked out in jewelry all the time. So no, it was not something that I had thought of before.
Interesting. Now, I know that when you got ready to do your really launch your business, you did some research and in terms of pros and cons and the best way to go about it. You also had some other endeavors you were kind of trying out at the same time as well. How did Expressions bracelets went out?
Okay, so what happened was after I was laid off from my first job, my corporate job, and then the speaking company you and I were speaking for went under as well. I wouldn't say went under, but they stopped doing as many presentations as we had been doing that we were accustomed to. And so I actually went on unemployment and I thought, hey, I'm going to start my speaking business. I mean, I've been doing this for years. Let's do this. Started it, didn't know anything about how to promote it, how to market it. I put it on Facebook, my personal page, and there was crickets. Like nobody signed me up to do anything. And I was like, uh-oh, I've got to do something else. So I had a couple other businesses. I designed baby cakes, which were diaper cakes. I did baby girl headbands. I don't have children, so I sucked at that one. And I also did women's headband accessories. That didn't really go over well. But Expressions bracelets, because I had actually done some research on the 3 top things that you could start a business in. It was pets, weddings, and women accessories. And so I was like, okay, I've got to get this figured out. And I was also in New York, and I don't know if you remember this company. It was called Honesty Bracelets, and they were huge. And it was a lot of beaded bracelets. And I was in the middle of Times Square, and I saw their billboard, and it was 2 women with all these beaded bracelets up and down their arms. And I was like, okay, there's got to be something there. Because if someone is on a billboard in Times Square, whoever's behind this, it must be doing well. And long story short, I started, I put together bracelets for my niece's autism walk. And after that, I was encouraged to start a line of bracelets. And I was like, nobody's going to buy this. But I did the research. I got on Etsy. I made sure that I studied SEO. I studied taking pictures. I did all the behind the scenes stuff to get it out there. And it won out because it started making money.
You also had a stationery business too, didn't you?
Girl, yes, I forgot about that one. Designs of Expressions. Oh my word. Girl, that's another story for another day. You can't make beautiful cards. They were like literally handmade cards. I cut them, I designed them with all these beautiful flowers, and you can only sell a card for $5 or $6. And so it really wasn't going to be the thing that took off that well.
Now you have, Expressions is doing very well, and you do still have your speaking business. Mm-hmm. How has the speaking business been going, and how have you been able to balance them both?
Absolutely. Balance. Wow. That's a really good word because balance hasn't really been there lately with both businesses. Essentially with SaRatta Speaks, the whole goal is to help other boss women build businesses. And so in that, I want to build an online virtual website where they can go as a membership site. And I was supposed to launch my book at the beginning of 2020. It was a whole, see the 2020 vision. And that didn't work out because my other business just kept going and getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I really couldn't manage both of them, get the book finished. But it actually turned out to be a good thing because in these last 6 months, I have learned so much more about how to run a business during a pandemic, in the unexpected, how to pivot, how to plan for the future. And I want to include that in the book as well. So we're postponing that. And the balance for the two has been, I try to work half the day on one and half the day on the other, but expressions bracelets usually takes up most of the day. And so those things get pushed to the side, but it's still a work in progress.
Now, when you first started, it was just you working on some bracelets, but now you do have a team. What was that like in terms of finding people that you can trust and letting go of your baby?
Yeah, my first part-time employee was actually my younger cousin. And so I trusted her with my life. And she, to date, has still been one of my best employees ever. And so I was taking in people that were family and friends. Now, there are pros and cons to that. The pro is you have someone that you can trust. The con is a lot of times you hire family and friends that aren't skilled in the area that you need them to be skilled in. If you need someone to write a blog and you get your best friend to do it, but she's not a blog writer, well, then you're going to end up doing the work because you have to go behind them and check those things out. So it's almost a disadvantage to hire people that are really close to you if they don't specialize in what you need them to. And so I had to get out of the mindset of hiring what I call help. Or there are people that can come in last minute and help you pack up, help you do the orders, help you do all those, mundane tasks. But you need people on your team that specialize in things that you don't, so that you can actually grow. And if you don't get those blog writers or someone that actually can come in and help you, learn about even recording a video or anything, then you can't have a good team. So I had to understand that in growing the business, I had to have a team of people that could help me sustain the business.
Now, do you have on any expressions today on your arm? Do you have any arm candy that we can see?
That was so funny. I knew you were going to say that. And you remember right before we were talking about, were you a jewelry person? I'm totally not. And I don't have any on right now. I actually have just a business card that I'm sitting right here. I'm actually redoing my office. So it's one of those things where everything's kind of all over the place, but you can sort of see the cuffs right there. And those are my two favorite mantras. You've got this, and we're all more than conquerors.
And you also you still sell the beaded bracelets. And I'm gonna be honest, I thought about it earlier. I was like, oh, where are my bracelets? But you can rarely even see my arms. But I'll be honest, I forgot my arm candy from Expressions as well. So shifting a little bit, we've been talking about successes. We'd love to talk a little bit about some challenges, because obviously anytime you undertake an effort that, life happens.
Yes.
And for some more so than others. Can you share some of the challenges you face, whether you had personal challenges while running your business or just, business stuff, and how you overcame those?
Absolutely. One of the ones that pops in my head is when I had to have emergency surgery. It's been 3.5 years ago. And the day after surgery, I had a myomectomy, and they removed 18 fibroids. And the day after surgery, I closed the biggest single order to that date of over 5,000 cuffs. And that order had to be out in 4 weeks. Now, if anyone has ever had a C-section or a myomectomy, they know that you are supposed to be in recovery for 4 weeks. And I did not have a team in place for that large of an order at that particular time. And so it really, I had to be up stamping orders. I was hiring anybody that I possibly could. And so what happens when you grow too fast, which is a big challenge, sometimes people are going for years and years and years, and they finally get that break and they're not ready for it. You have to plan and think like a big business before you're even a big business. You have to build in the budget to be able to hire people, even when you're like, oh, wait a minute, I don't know if I can afford that right now. All of that has to be the mindset of, I need to think like a big business. I need to start filling those spots of things that I can take a couple of hours off my plate. Because if anything happens to you, guess what? Your business is going to suffer, and you don't want that. So that was a big learning lesson right there, was understanding. And I see someone said 4 to 6 weeks recover. Yes. Understanding that you have to have a team, regardless of whatever point you're at. Start hiring people slowly. Contract them out to write a blog. Contract them out to do a video. Start working with people. And that was the biggest lesson I learned.
All right. You have I guess it's kind of going along with that. You have a question from Edwin, one of our loyal viewers.
Wow. How long did it take? You know what? I still struggle with that. If I'm just being transparent, I still struggle with that. I have 2 girls that actually I allow to ship from their homes. Everyone else has to bring their orders to me. And I'm still over here trying to sort through everything and make sure, because they have like a probationary period, because customer service is key. And so I have to learn a little bit more to trust people, but also to vet them even more. And that usually, if you feel a red flag or you see a red flag in the interview or the first couple of weeks after working, listen to it, because it's going to cause a bigger problem later. So you have to learn to hire the right people, screen them properly so that you're able to trust them.
And what would be some of the suggestions that you would offer to someone? Let's say someone was looking to, they have a small business. They're looking to finally add someone to their team. What are some of those possible red flags or the right type of screening questions that you've learned along the way?
Right. Well, it comes down to what job you're hiring them for. And I think you have to understand exactly what characteristics you're looking for in that particular job. If it's someone that you're going to get to come into your home to be your business assistant, then you need to make sure that person's reliable. You need to be checking their references. I mean, you're never too small to check someone's references. And definitely you can run a background check as well. I learned the hard way. I actually hired someone who stole from me because I didn't do a background check. So you have to take that extra step. It is your business. It is your baby. Make sure you're screening them properly, looking at their references, looking at their job history, and just, you get that gut feeling. When you're talking to someone and you know you need someone that's on point and you're sitting across from them and they're totally not on point, it's a no-brainer. So you definitely have to take heed and listen for those red flags.
Okay. Along with purchases, obviously we want people to support our business by purchasing our products and our services. Along with that, what are some ways that you have found helpful that people can support your business as well as possibly others?
Of course. Everyone's not your customer. Everyone's not going to buy from you. And that is okay. I think the minute you understand that, the minute you begin to see, hey, this person can actually share a post. This person can actually recommend me to someone else. This person can do a shout out in their stories. I mean, everyone's on social now. Just a simple post, just a simple recommendation to someone else when they're looking for a gift. It may not be your cup of tea, but your audience may love something that you're sharing. So share the post, like and comment on their pages. A lot of times, we don't think, hey, we don't want to share the business. Well, that's fine. Just pop over to their page and start liking some stuff and commenting on some stuff, because that helps us with the algorithms as we're actually making these posts. So you can do a number of things without ever purchasing from someone, and just, texting them, say, hey, how are you doing? How's your small business doing? And that's a show of support.
How did you start to expand what you offer with Expressions? Because again, it started with just beaded bracelets, but now you have the cuffs and you have charms, you have different things. How did you start to expand?
Well, when I started out with the beaded bracelets, like I said, it was because they were so popular at the time. And I noticed a small dip in sales. Sales were starting to kind of slow down a little bit, and that's because the market was becoming overly saturated. And so I had to go back to do some research and find out, okay, what are people really gravitating toward? And at the time, it was stamping, hand stamping. So I had to teach myself hand stamping and how to personalize cuffs. And that kind of took a life of its own. And to date, they are still some of our biggest sellers, personalized cuffs. But as I began to study more about what I can offer, one of the things my husband told me a long time ago, he asked me, he said, what are you selling? And I was like, Bracelets. I mean, I don't get the question. And he was like, no, really, what are you selling? And when we sat down and had that conversation, I was selling inspiration. I was selling empowerment. I was selling personalized gifts to help someone find a gift that's affordable, that's high quality. And when you start to narrow down what you're actually selling, it's not the product. When you learn what you're selling, then you can build your business around that. So now I can add in other products as long as they fit the model of being inspirational. That could be charms, that could be makeup bags. I'm going to introduce wall art this coming fall. And so anything that is inspirational to someone, I can include in the line. And so that's how I decide what to add to the line.
And that goes along with your brand with SaRatta Speaks as well, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, it does. I try to take on any show that is woman-centered or woman-focused. And I try to take on those shows. I do podcasts with those people because my ultimate goal is to help women build boss businesses. No offense to the guys, but it's just, that's where my heart is. My heart is helping the next person, helping the next female next to me, that we can grow together. Because like you said earlier, hey, somebody had to help me out. There are plenty of people that have reached back and said, hey, I suggested your name for this, or, I told someone to do this podcast with you. Why can't we share the love? I mean, it's enough room for all of us.
Absolutely. Now, you were just talking a little bit about interviewing and, making sure that you get the right people on your team, which is great business advice. What is one other piece of advice you would offer to someone who's looking to start a business or perhaps grow their business?
Absolutely. Setting goals. A lot of times when we set goals, we set these huge, big goals of, hey, I want this business that's going to help me leave my 9-to-5. But if you don't have what we call SMART goals in place, then you're never going to achieve it. So you have to make sure those goals are SMART. And you know this, Angela, this comes from way back in our Make an Account days. They're SMART, they're measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. Google SMART goals. But set goals, short-term goals, and long-term goals, and take one thing a day. If you look at the big picture of all these things that you have to do in a business, you're going to be overwhelmed. So if it's one thing like, hey, I'm going to start my Instagram page today, do that. And then do the next thing, and then do the next thing. And before you know it, you will have things knocked off your list.
Awesome. Edwin has another question for you.
Mm-hmm. What misconceptions and challenges do you encounter business? People think it is so awesome. They think that it is just overnight success, and you're like, hey, this is cool. But listen, when I get off of this interview, I'm going back to work because there are things that need to be done. And until you have a full team of people where you're only, working 5 hours in a day, because that's the goal. The goal is to, grow more and more and hire more people. But there are days where you're going to come in and you're going to be working 12 hours that day. The goal is to scale back as you can. And I try to scale back because I try to make sure, when my husband gets home from work, that we're able to stop and take that time together. And so I've done really great with it, but there are nights that I'm still up working. So the misconception is it's easy and that you're doing something you love and you're just fine. It's a balance that we struggle to figure out between the hustle and being healthy and getting rest.
What is one thing that has surprised you throughout this journey that maybe you weren't expecting?
That I wasn't expecting. I will say this: some of the people that you least expect will show up in your corner. People
say that
expect to be in your corner won't be in your corner. For whatever reason, maybe it's not their thing, and that's perfectly fine. But some of the people that you least expect to show up for you will show up for you. And I think that's so awesome. That's one of the least expected things. And another thing is just how much hard work it is. I didn't expect that when I first jumped into the game, and how much you have to still keep learning, because it's not one and done. I mean, I am constantly reading ebooks. I'm constantly taking courses. It is not hey, I got this thing, I'm good. So I didn't expect to keep learning so much, but that's definitely been an advantage.
Now, you were recently profiled on essence.com. What was that like? Because I saw your post where you were like, you always wanted to go, and it was on my vision board to go this year. And I was like, oh, nobody can go. Okay, it's going to be
Right,
next year
right.
then.
I've been wanting to go to Essence Fest forever. And as Essence has actually been a really good partner for us, we partnered with Essence back in 2018 for their new shop Essence. And they recently did an interview with me. Oh, I want to say it was in May. It was actually in May. And they did it for their Essence Live Facebook account. And once it aired, I didn't think anything else about it. And I got a couple of texts the day that they actually promoted my brand at the Essence Fest, but no one told me exactly what it was. They were just saying congratulations on the interview. I assumed it was the interview that I'd already done. And they had taken that interview and they had edited and put it into the Sunday, it was June 28th broadcast. And I was like, oh my God, so it was a big thing for me because I grew up reading Essence. Essence is like really near and dear to my heart. So it was really, really a humbling experience as well as an accomplishment. So it felt good.
Well, as we get ready to wrap up, this period of time, we have seen so many people either grow business, launch businesses out of necessity, out of just having the extra time. What do you think is going to be the legacy for small business owners that will come out of this time?
I think that those that were able to make it through, and my heart goes out to those that were not for whatever reason. But I think whether you make it through or you don't, the lessons that you're going to learn, you're going to be able to implement them into a new venture or into your own current business. And the legacy will be that you made it through. Regardless of whether or not that particular business survived, you made it through, you learned some lessons, and you're going to be able to share that with other people. So I think we're going to come through with all the support that people are offering right now. I think we're going to really leave behind a mark on this period as being those people that are risk takers, that other people can model after what we've learned and done during this time.
Last night, the business owner that I interviewed, Donna King of Pisha Rod and Company, one of the things she talks about was partnerships in terms of partnering with brands. Mm-hmm. What would be some ideal partners for you in terms of other businesses?
Sure. Any business that is aligned with my purpose, which is inspiring others, which is empowering others. And because it is a women-centered, women-focused business, anyone that is out there inspiring women, empowering women, motivating women, those are my peeps. Those are the people that I want to align with, I want to partner with, because like I said before, once you understand what you're selling, everything else falls in line. It determines who you market to. It determines who you partner with. It determines absolutely everything. How you even package your brand, what your messaging is. So it will be those people that are motivating and inspiring women.
Awesome. Well, as we wrap up, do you have any final thoughts?
Like I said before, make sure that you actually set a goal and go for it. And when you set that goal, make sure you actually take action on it. So dream it, plan it, act on it.
And someone wants to know what's in that frame behind you on the wall.
Hold on. Can you see it?
I am living my ancestors' wildest dreams.
Yep.
That's awesome.
I'm a big person of words, as you can see in my jewelry. So all around, you can't really see them right there, but all around the office are all of these inspirational quotes.
And you just are you still in the midst of redesigning your office? I saw some of your behind the scenes on your Insta stories.
Right here, because that other one is a hotmess.com. So we are focused right here. And that's why I'm like to the side a little bit. But yeah, I'm in the midst of it. I'll do an unveiling if you guys want to see on Instagram stories probably next week.
Okay, cool. Well, you see SaRatta's Instagram scrolling at the bottom of the screen along with her website. So please go over, check out the website, subscribe. She has a newsletter and subscribe to the Instagram post because she does giveaways And real people win. Ask me how I know.
Yes, they do.
All right, SaRatta, thanks so much for taking the time to hang out with us tonight.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, that's it for this Thursday edition of the Angela Ray Show. As always, I would like to remind you of Ray of Motivation number 54. Cleaning a mirror does not change the person who is reflected in it. Until next time, I encourage you to go out and be the change. Have a great evening.